We are back for our 5 best bets for week number 11 of the NFL season. This will be just money lines and spreads, as we will have our best player props later today at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. But for now, again, just money line picks and spread picks for this week. Folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more NFL content here on the channel. Again, these videos are weekly on the channel. Every Saturday, we do best bets and with spreads and best player props, and every single Tuesday, we do our full predictions. So obviously we're not going to get a chance to talk about every single game this week or in this video, but early in the week I did go over the entire slate, predicting every single one of these 15 games. Obviously there's only 14 left now, but I predicted every single game. We do it every single week on the channel on Tuesday, so make sure to join us for that next week for a full week 12 predictions video. And again, go make sure to check out the week 11 predictions. They're already up on the channel as well. Okay, folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily or weekly, again, NFL content here on the channel, but daily on the channel, NBA best bets, college basketball best bets. We've got our UFC predictions out as well, and best bets for UFC 322. That's tonight from Madison Square Garden in New York, so you're not going to want to miss that video. Let's do it. First now with 5 best bets for the NFL's Week 11 schedule. Kicking things off with a matchup, and actually America's game of the week, the Bears. Give me Chicago on the road. What have we come to, man? I started the season saying, oh, the Bears are never going to be anything. You know, Caleb Williams will not win. The Bears will permanently suck. Well, that's my mindset on Atlanta right now. I'm a believer now. I'm a believer in the Bears. Is it crazy? I'm a believer in the Bears. Okay? This is a great spot for him here. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy's at 100%. It doesn't feel like J.J. McCarthy's at 100%. 9, sorry, let me clarify. 9 is at 100%. They say, again, he's not even on the injury report, but we know Minnesota doesn't really disclose all of their injuries, so. Anyways, I'm not buying into the Vikings right now. I know, we did best bets on week 1, and one of the best bets was Minnesota to go on the road and beat Chicago. Right now, the Bears are the much better football team compared to the Minnesota Vikings. I get it. Chicago struggled last week at home against the New York Giants. It was a win, and again, a win is a win is a win in the National Football League. You cannot complain about taking W's in the National Football League, right? Any way you can get them, that's fine. But it was a hard-fought win, and a come-from-behind victory. It took for Jackson Dart going down for Chicago to get the victory. But again, that doesn't matter. They win. The Bears are now quietly 6-3, about to be 7-3. This team's very alive for the playoffs. And we're going to talk about another team that's in the wild card race later on in the video about how this can affect things. You know, I said it earlier in the week, there's a chance the Packers are going to get squeezed out of this equation. I think they might be the team that just doesn't get in. And again, that's dependent on some other wild card spots and obviously how the NFC West plays out, obviously with the Seahawks, Niners, and Los Angeles Rams. But I like the Bears quite a bit in the spot. They need a victory here before they play Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Green Bay in 3 straight weeks. It's an absolutely massive game if the Bears want to be a postseason team this year. And again, Ben Johnson's not stupid. He understands the magnitude of this football game. It really is a must-win game for Chicago. You're on Fox, nationally televised spot, Tom Brady on commentary, Caleb Williams can win the LFG Player of the Week, and I think that's what's exactly going to happen. The Vikings are 4-5. They were at home last week and they lost to Baltimore. J.J. McCarthy, who I still believe in, 100%. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a very good quarterback in the NFL for a very long time. Okay, I firmly believe that. He is the franchise guy from Minnesota. That's what 9 is, okay? Is the 9 nickname thing corny? It's corny when you make yourself 9, right? Like, if that just became a thing and people just started calling McCarthy 9, cool. The way J.J. McCarthy introduced it, oh yeah, it's like I have an alter ego when I get on the field and I call him 9. Like, oh, dude, you can't, like, you can think that, but now it just comes off as corny as hell, and it kind of is. I like J.J. McCarthy. It sucks, whatever. He did not look good last week. He didn't. And I know, again, like, passing-wise, he wasn't great against the Lions. He did what they needed him to do to win the game. Baltimore-wise, they need to lean on McCarthy's arm a lot more because they're losing, obviously. They need McCarthy to make big plays, work the ball downfield. Doesn't really make those plays. Right, McCarthy throws 2 picks. They're not the best picks. And Baltimore walks out of Minnesota with the victory. Chicago right now is playing confident football. They have back-to-back weeks where they find ways to win on the road, or they won at home against the Giants, but still on the road in Cincinnati, they find a way Score 47 points, you get the victory. Go ahead, drive at the end of their winning drive at the end of the football game, essentially, to beat the Joe Flacco-led Bengals last week against the Giants. Sure, again, is it by hook or by crook? It feels like it. Jackson Dart gets injured. Russell Wilson comes in, who's now been benched for famous Jameis Winston. I got really close, by the way, to putting Giants plus 7.5 in the video. I'm not going to, but I like it a lot. But, I mean, you barely escaped against that Giants team at home. It took, again, Russell Wilson coming in and playing. It took a bad punt, a completely shanked punt. A win is a win. What are you going to complain about? The Bears won the football game. They're now 6-3. Their losses of the season are first 2 weeks of the year. Minnesota, and a game that they should have won, by the way. They were in full control of the game, and they let it slip away. Full control against the Vikings, and they choked it. They went to Detroit and got beat up. That's expected. They went to Baltimore, lost a game. Whatever. Lamar didn't play. They should have won. It's fine. They're still a 6-3 football team. And Caleb Williams, even though he's not been the best this season, Williams is making plays. And that run game, man. I know it wasn't on full display last week because they struggled a little bit against that Giants defense. But when that run game gets going, DeAndre Swift is still very capable. Kyle Monangai is one of the better backup running backs in all the National Football League. There's a chance Kyle Monangai still will take over by the end of the season. Believe you me on that, right? Like I think he's very good. I think the Bears win this football game. I think they do. Defensively, I know they had a bad game against the Bengals. Guys, everyone is going to play poorly defensively against the Cincinnati Bengals. More on them in just like a minute, right? Everyone's going to play poorly defensively against them. Every other game the Bears have played, they've been a pretty solid defensive bunch. Giants game, yeah, I know, again, Jackson Dart has his moments, but when they need stops against Russ, they get him, right? They played the Cowboys earlier this season and gave up 14 points to that explosive offense. Yeah, give me Chicago. They're going to have J.J. McCarthy in hell this week, I think, and there is going to be some talking in Minnesota about how great McCarthy truly is. Trust me, he's going to be fine, but this is going to be a bad week for Minnesota. I'm taking Chicago Bears money line on the road, plus 125 to beat the Minnesota Vikings. On to our second best bet of the video. Here they are, if you can't tell. Cincinnati Bengals, plus 5.5 on the road in Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco against the Steelers. Yeah, give me the Bengals. Cincinnati's had to sit on whatever the hell happened 2 weeks ago. The Bengals, man, coming off a bye week where they had to sit and, just think and reflect about their 5-point loss to the Chicago Bears. And the defense, I mean, your offense scores 42 points and they lose a football game. Joe Flacco, at age 40, throws for an all-time high in passing yards, 470 of them. And his team lost the football game. Week before, they scored 38 points against the New York Jets. They lose the football game. Eventually, the defense has got to play well, right? And they're playing a Steelers team who, I know they can probably execute against Cincinnati, but a Steelers team that scored, 10 points last week in Los Angeles on Sunday night? Are the Chargers really good? 100%. I think the Chargers are great. But the Steelers' offense looked horrible last week. And I get it. This is the defense you fix it against. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals are atrocious. I understand. But I do think Cincinnati offensively is going to show up. That's all they do. And I think it's going to be a shootout that the Steelers can't get away from them in. Who wins? I don't know. I think the Bengals are going to win. I did pick them at the beginning of the week. Again, for a best bet, I'm not going to tell you take plus 200 on the Bengals. Take the points. Let's go 5.5 on Cincinnati. But a lot right now is being made of the fact Joe Burrow's returning. Now, I don't know. I like Joe Burrow. I somehow I wound up with him in fantasy because someone in my league dropped him earlier in the year when they thought he was going to be out for the season. And so I wound up with Burrow on my IR right now, even though I have Baker and Jackson Dart in a 16-man. I don't know how I lucked into that. I drafted Dart and then I drafted Baker, and now I just have Burrow too. So I don't know what to do with all three of them. Anyways, though, I like... If Burrow comes back, that means the Bengals are winning games, right? Burrow's supposed to come back on week 14 against the Bills. And, the big target for the Bengals is 2-1. Go 2-1 the next 3 games with Flacco, and then get Burrow to a spot where if they win 4 straight games, they're in the playoffs. Because if you go 2-1 in this next stretch, you're 5-7, and then 10-7 should get you in. Sure. I mean, that means they have to win this game. Because, honestly, the 2 games I think they win, in Pittsburgh, in Baltimore. I think they're losing next week to the Patriots. I think they're going to. I mean, I think Drake May is going to absolutely destroy this defense. Drake May is probably going to win the MVP. If it's not Matthew Stafford, it should be Drake May. Jonathan Taylor should be involved in the conversation as well, but they're not going to give it to a running back, so it's probably going to be Drake May or Matthew Stafford or Mahomes. I think it's going to be Drake. But I don't think the Bengals beat the Patriots next week. I think they can go to Baltimore and win on Thanksgiving, though. Trust me. Thanksgiving, night game, Joe Flacco, potential last game in Baltimore. Probably not. He's going to start for the Steelers next year. But Flacco in Baltimore with a better team than the first time he played them this season. Because don't forget, Flacco has played Baltimore before this year with the Browns, and they got beat up in Baltimore. He's going to get another chance to go to Baltimore this season. He's playing twice in the same location, which is just weird, but he's going to get the chance to do it. And if Flacco's healthy, if Burrow doesn't come back, then Flacco could play the Ravens 3 times this year. But, there's a lot of emphasis on winning this game. Again, the thing is, being Pittsburgh, the thing is, if they go 2-1, like, would you not just want to ride it out with Flacco? I guess, no. Burrow's your guy. You need to bring Burrow back. But if Flacco puts you in a spot where you are, 4 wins away from the playoffs, shouldn't you just ride with the guy who's taking you here? I get it. It's Joe Burrow. But I don't know. Flacco's definitely earned himself a starting job, I believe, in Pittsburgh next season. If not Pittsburgh, Vegas or Miami. Flacco's going to start somewhere in the league next year. Trust me on that. Or maybe he'll wind up back in Cleveland again. I think the Bengals, this comes down to the fact the Bengals are going to score. No Trey Hendrickson this week, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't care who the Bengals line up on defense. It really doesn't matter to me. Like, they're going to give up points regardless. This is just, primarily I'm picking this. I'm not expecting anything out of the defense. I'm just expecting Joe Flacco to keep scoring. That's all I'm expecting. Cincinnati's beat Pittsburgh this season. They beat them by 2 points. Thursday night game in Cincinnati. I get in the white out with the white Bengal stripes and whatnot. Flacco throws for 342 yards as the big read option keep for a touchdown. What happens though at the end of the game? Rodgers scores the big touchdown, the big pass downfield to Pat Freiermuth. Joe Flacco leads the Bengals down the field and kicks a game-winning field goal with Evan McPherson. Bengals win in the first ever Unk Bowl. Well, now we've got Unk Bowl Part 2 on CBS, and I think the Bengals are going to cover. 5.5. Again, I think they're going to win, but covering should be fine. They've covered in their last 2 losses. This line in their last 2 losses, not the initial spread. They were, in a game against the Jets, they lost by 1. Against the Bears, they lose by 5. This should be a 1-score game. And most likely, if this is a 1-score game, I think it's going to be under 5 points. And I think the Bengals are going to keep up with the Steelers' offense that I'm a little bit skeptical on right now. And I get it. They get the easiest, get-right game ever, or get-right defense ever in the Bengals. But I do think Joe Flacco alone wins this or keeps this game alive for the Bengals. And don't forget as well, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They're getting Chase Brown more involved too. I like Cincinnati quite a bit here. Plus 5.5 for the Bengals, and one of the more fun teams to watch in all the NFL. And I'm just saying, I know they're not entirely winning with Flacco, even though Flacco's putting up absurd numbers. If Burrow comes back and doesn't put up these same stats, there's going to be some interesting conversations to be had in Cincinnati. I'm not questioning Joe Burrow's greatness. We need to start talking about Joe Flacco's greatness. But the conversation will be about, how good really is Joe Burrow? It's just Flacco's still elite. But anyways, Bengals plus 5.5 on the road at Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Next up, we go on to the afternoon games. Oh my goodness, we're doing it again. Every single week, roll out the San Francisco 49ers. This is just a weekly occurrence. Every single week on the best bets. Who are we taking this week? Give me San Francisco. I will be honest with you. I'll tell you the thought process here. I was down to 4, so I had my 3 bets in. I had the first 2 that we just did. There's going to be another one later, the last bet. And then there was, I'll say it, this game, and then the other afternoon game we're going to get to in a second. But anyways, the other 2 games I was thinking of putting instead of this game and the next game we're going to talk about was Dallas-Vegas. I was going to take Dallas minus 3 in Las Vegas. They should cover. And Los Angeles minus 3 at home to beat the Seahawks. Instead, I feel more confident about the Niners. I do. I think Jacoby Brissett's kind of figured out now. And I'm not saying that Jacoby Brissett's a young player and now defenses have finally realized it. No, obviously. Brissett's been around for a very long time. But now there's so much tape on Brissett in the system, and as the Cardinals quarterback, you're not watching Kyler Murray film anymore. You're not watching tape on Kyler running around the pocket for forever. You're watching how the Cardinals play with Jacoby Brissett. On top of that, no Marvin Harrison this week. I know that may not seem like the biggest deal because, Trey McBride really feels like the number 1 option here, but no Marvin Harrison is very meaningful, believe me on that. Marv may not be putting up the numbers we thought he was going to out of college, but he's still a very good receiver and very capable receiver. You replace him now with the number 1 receiver this week being Michael Wilson. That's big time. And obviously, right, McBride's going to, take up most of the targets, I understand. I don't really trust Arizona right now after that game in Seattle. They were cover kings all year long. They were the Michigan State of the NFL. They kept covering every single game imaginable. I'm telling you, I think this team's kind of figured out now. If you can really just bottle up Brissett, not bottle up Brissett, if you can pressure Brissett and make him make a quick throw, they're not that great. DeMercado is not that great of a back. The DeMercado Bam Knight 1-2 punch in the backfield is not something anybody's really concerned about. And the Arizona defense is all right. It's not good enough, though. Here's the thing. The unknown thing with the San Francisco 49ers, unfortunately, though, this week is Brock Purdy's back. I don't mean that like, oh, I don't like Brock. It's just, I think Mac was doing a fine job. But the soft benching is over. The Niners got what they wanted. They lost, 2 of 3, and now they get the opportunity to get their guy back. And, Mac has earned himself a starting job next season. I've been on record saying I think Mac Jones is going to be the starting quarterback next year of the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's a perfect spot for him next season. He'll be a bridge guy, but Mac will get a chance to become the guy next year in Arizona. We shall see, because I don't think the Cardinals go quarterback in the draft. I think they go veteran quarterback, see how it goes with Mac for 1 year, and if not, you move on, get a rookie in the class after. If Mac works, you stick with Mac. Niners going back to Brock Purdy for the first time since week 4. I don't love the fact that Kyle Shanahan's already said, yeah, Brock's not 100%, but he's kind of close to 100%. So you know what? We're just going to throw him out there and play. What we don't want to do is throw him back out there like we did in week 4 against Jacksonville in the game that we lost, and Brock was 50%, but we just said, go play. And he didn't play well. I have to believe Brock Purdy is somewhat near the 100%. Because obviously in the Jacksonville game, he was nowhere near 100, and they just threw him out there for some odd reason, just because, we paid him a bunch of money, so go out there and do your thing, Brock, even though Mac just won back-to-back games. Mac Jones getting screwed a little bit here, but obviously Mac Jones is not making the money Brock Purdy's making, so they have to start Brock Purdy. They should still be able to beat the Cardinals, though. I get it. The Niners defense is atrocious. They cannot get a single stop last week against the Los Angeles Rams. At the same time, though, the Rams have potentially the best offense in the National Football League right now, and it's very hard to contain an offense with, simply put, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams. It is unbelievable what they're doing this season. Puka's elite. Devontae still got it, and Stafford, Unk still has it as well. So good on the Rams. We told you at the beginning of the year they're going to win the NFC West. I still believe they're going to. We shall see about this week in Seattle. Again, I'm going to lay off it for now. But again, if I had to pick one, definitely go Los Angeles -3 at home. Anyways, though, I think San Francisco wins this football game on the road. I believe they will. Arizona, I think this Brissett thing's been figured out. Pressure Brissett, put him in trouble. No Marvin Harrison this week. His number 1 receiver technically is Michael Wilson. Obviously, the number 1 target as a whole is going to be Trey McBride. And McBride, I think, is the best tight end in the National Football League. You can have Brock Bowers. I think Bowers is really good. I put Bowers at 2. Number 1 for me is Trey McBride. If McBride gets targeted like a number 1 tight end, which he kind of is starting to be now with Jacoby Brissett and not Kyler Murray, McBride is very talented, and you can tell. He just gets open. He makes contested catches, and he's a great, run after the catch type of guy. He's extremely talented. And I can guarantee you he's not going to be a Cardinal in the next, 2 years. He's going to go somewhere else. He's going to get paid somewhere else. Why would he stay in Arizona? Anyways, though, I think San Francisco's going to win. McCaffrey's presence is absolutely huge. Obviously, McCaffrey's playing really great football right now. I think that's going to be a big-time bonus, obviously, for Brock Purdy. I know, McCaffrey was healthy when Purdy was playing early in the season, but McCaffrey's playing even better now. You get Ricky Pearsall back this week, so now you just, you beef up now this receiving core. The only real receiver that they're missing now is Brandon Ayuk, and I don't know when Ayuk's ever going to be back. They haven't even opened his practice window yet, so I don't know, but receiving core as a whole is solid right now. Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, Kendrick Bourne, who obviously is Mac's guy, but still Bourne, and then George Kittle. There's weapons, and obviously McCaffrey at the backfield as well. I like the Niners to win this game. I think they shut down Arizona's offense, and I think Brock's going to figure it out on the other side of the ball for the Niners. San Francisco wins, and they do cover the spread as well. -2.5 points for the San Francisco 49ers on the road in Glendale, Arizona. -125 to cover against the Arizona Cardinals. On to our 4th best bet of the video. This is the other game I was considering with the Rams and Seahawks game and the Cowboys-Raiders game. Here it is. Denver Broncos +3.5. Yes, this is the biggest game the Broncos have played, and I'm not joking when I say this. This is the biggest game the Broncos have played since Super Bowl 50. And you might laugh at that statement, but it is 100% true. You get a chance to bury the Chiefs tonight. Don't get me wrong, you're probably going to see them again in the playoffs. If the Broncos go where they want to go this season, they might have to see them again come the postseason. But who knows? Maybe they don't. I don't know. Kansas City's schedule, I don't know. The Chiefs get the Colts next week. And then, maybe the Cowboys shock some people on Thanksgiving. Probably not. But I don't know. We'll see. The Chiefs don't have a cakewalk. They have the Titans and Raiders. But other than that, they have some really tough games. Why this game is so huge, though, for the Broncos is you can ensure that the Chiefs essentially have to go on the road every single round in the playoffs. If you get this team again, they got to come back to Mile High. You can kind of ensure that Chiefs are going to be the 6th seed here. And that's why this game is so big. you want to talk about dynasties, and you want to make the, comparisons to Reed and Mahomes to Belichick and Brady. Sorry, Brady and, I guess, Belichick. Brady always won his division every single year. The Patriots, Tom Brady, his entire career, didn't win the division 3 times. 2002, he didn't win the division. They were bad that year. They're like 8-8. 2008, he got hurt, so that doesn't really count. Matt Castler, they went at 11-5 and missed the playoffs, oddly enough. And then 2020, they were the 5 seed and didn't win the division because the Saints beat them twice in the regular season, and the Saints had a better record. But Tom won the division every single year, really, and he's an active player. Brady won the division every year, but twice. He found ways to win the division, and that ensured every single year Tom Brady's at home in the playoffs. It so just happened the one year Brady didn't have home field advantage, there's no crowd. Now, there was a crowd in Green Bay, and that was difficult. But regardless, right? That's what these teams do. That's what the dynasties do. They find ways to win their division every single year. And sure, was the AFC East weak when Brady played in it? It's kind of, I get that. But still, there were some decent teams in the AFC East. Actually, statistically, the AFC East was really good against the rest of the NFL, even though it didn't always feel like that. But trust me, like Ryan Fitzpatrick on the Jets/Bills/Dolphins gave some teams trouble. The Chiefs, you get a chance to completely say, you're not winning the division this year. That's what the Broncos can do here. If the Broncos win, they're 9-2. Kansas City's 5-5. It would take a historical collapse for Denver to not win the division. And then when you see, oh wait, Denver goes to Washington next week, or after a bye week on Sunday night, of course, that's probably gonna get flexed out. But you go to Washington, and then you go to Vegas. Wait, hold on. If you beat the Chiefs this week, you're starting 11-2, and unless you lose out, you're gonna clinch the division, or at least clinch it out, take it out of the Chiefs' hands. There's a chance the Chargers could still win it, but that doesn't really matter. It's about getting rid of Kansas City, and that's what Denver can do this week. So that's what I'm just saying. The importance of this game, it means a lot to Kansas City because they're trying to get in the playoff race, obviously. I mean, they're in the playoff race. They're not right now in the playoffs because technically Jacksonville's the tiebreaker over them, but they're around the playoff hunt, obviously, but it's a massive game for them. They don't want to go to 500. They're going to go to 500. Now, on top of that, we're going to give the 3.5 points here for Denver at plus 100 because, some tricky-dicky shenanigans. The, referees get the call. Okay. Chiefs got to win. We need them to win the AFC East or AFC West. Okay, done. Right? We can't have Bo Nix. Bo Nix can't have 2 home playoff games. Yeah, okay. Make sure Mahomes wins, right? There's a chance that happens. I'm just saying. But we'll take the plus 3.5 points here, okay? So that's our NFL, influence allowance is 3.5 points. But I'm telling you, this is like the most massive game since, I think it's the biggest game in 10 years for the Broncos. Yeah, I know they've been in the playoffs since they went last year and lost to the Bills. I believe this is the biggest game they've played since Super Bowl 50. It's been 10 years. This is absolutely huge. You're at home. And you're not ending the Chiefs' dynasty if you beat them because you're going to see them probably in the playoffs anyways. I don't anticipate Jacksonville to hold on to that spot. I expect the 7 playoff teams in the AFC to be Patriots, Colts, Broncos, whoever wins the AFC North, Steelers, Bengals, Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs. Those are going to be the 7 teams in the playoffs in the AFC. It really just depends on who wins the North and who gets to host probably the Chargers in the first round or Denver in the first round. Regardless, it's going to be a difficult team either in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, or Baltimore. Definitely not the Browns. But you get a chance again to end this little run the Chiefs are on of winning the division every single season. And it's a good matchup, man. Surtain might play. Okay. I don't think Surtain's been officially... Oh, he has been ruled out now. Whatever. That doesn't really matter to me. Well, it does, but that's okay. I wasn't really anticipating him to play. It's still an excellent Denver defense. The names on this Denver defense, they've got guys all around. I mean, you got to deal with... Bettino, you got to deal with Dre Greenlaw, who's still coming back. Riley Moss, still a very capable corner. How about Talanoa Hufanga? I mean, you don't want to get hit by that guy. There's some great players in this Denver defense. Obviously, the offense has been lacking a little bit. J.K. Dobbins goes on the IR. Time for R.J. Harvey. I think they're fine. How can I forget about Zach Allen? Zach Allen's been dominating this year. Zach Allen's been getting sack after sack after. He's gotten a sack in each of the last 5 games. Like, this Denver defense is absurd. And the offense just needs to kind of figure it out a little bit. It's going to be a low-scoring game that the Broncos are going to win, in my opinion. Kansas City didn't play all that well in Buffalo. I don't think they're going to play that well up at elevation against the Broncos. Plus 3.5 for Denver. It is an absolutely massive game for them. The Chiefs have not been a good road team this year, guys. The Chiefs have only played... Is this real? The Chiefs have played 3 road games this year? Technically, one of their road games is in in Brazil, because, the Chargers have to be the home team in that game. They've played 3 road games Giants, Jags, Bills. What the hell? But of course, they get one less road game because they're the Chiefs. That's absurd. They're 1-2 on the road this year. Yeah, give me Denver. Give me Denver. Denver at home. Chiefs are not a good road team this season. Mahomes is going to be in hell against that Denver defense. Give me the Broncos. Plus 3.5. Next up, final best bet of the video. I'm wearing the jersey for a reason. Jared Goff. Give me the Detroit Lions to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, this game concludes the Detroit Lions revenge tour of the mishaps of the postseason last year. And obviously, the Lions have no one to blame but themselves, obviously, for losing the postseason last year and losing to the Commanders in the first round, or their first playoff game, obviously, in the divisional round. But this 2-week stretch, the Lions have had circled for the longest time. I told you they're going to go into Washington and dominate the Commanders, and they did exactly that. They've been waiting for that game for years, and obviously they didn't, or for a year. Obviously they did not get Jaden Daniels in that game, but they dominated the Commanders and Marcus Mariota. The Philadelphia Eagles was supposed to be the team that they're going to play in the NFC Championship game, albeit at Ford Field, but now they get him in Philly, and it is one hell of a test for the Lions. Sam Laporta has already been ruled out this week. That is unfortunate. That sucks. It is what it is. The Lions have a plethora of weapons. Obviously, I'm referring to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams, obviously Isaac Tesla, Brock Wright, I think is going to play, Khalif Raymond, Jared Goff, obviously, is the commander of the offense, one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. They'll be fine, trust me. I know Laporta's going to suck. They're going to be okay. Detroit feels like they're always injured, but it's a big game. They got kind of robbed in their last Sunday night game. They're going to show up here. In Philly against the Eagles, an Eagles team that's coming off a short week. They plan on Monday night in Green Bay, so a super short week for this team. They're coming off a bye week, a week prior to that, but again, they got done with the game late Monday night in Green Bay, and they quickly have to turn around to take on the Detroit Lions at home on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I like the Lions in the spot, guys. The Eagles offense, it depends on the game. Some nights Jalen Hurts is great. Some nights he doesn't do anything offensively, and they don't really let Hurts be what makes Jalen Hurts good. They don't really, they kind of just go tush-push all game long. Again, that's dependent on the game, obviously, but Philly's so unpredictable for me, and I can't rely on this offense. Can't. I mean, A.J. Brown obviously says, I'm 100%, we're trying to win this year. A.J. Brown's fully committed to this team. I can almost guarantee you A.J. Brown's going to leave after this season, after all of this controversy around, what this dysfunctional bunch. Guys, the Eagles are 7-2, and these guys are still bitching about targets. I know, again, A.J. Brown claims to not be bitching about targets right now. I know he's not happy. You can tell he's not happy right now. The team's 7-2. That's the name of the game in the NFL. You win. And the Eagles do that. But yet, you still have a bunch of guys who aren't happy. Saquon hasn't been the happiest about his lack of yards. Again, the defense has won them games. They win in spots, and Philadelphia is 7-2. Eventually, this dysfunctional mess is going to lose. And against a good team like Detroit, they will lose. They went to Green Bay and won, and I thought they were going to go to Green Bay and win. Because the Packers aren't very good right now either. Green Bay, I think, might miss the playoffs in general. Jordan Love has been playing, has been getting worse. He's been regressing on a weekly basis. But when you look at the good teams Philadelphia's played this season, Denver's a good team. Denver went in there and beat them. They lost the Giants in the road. Whatever. They did beat Philly at home, but I think, they beat, did I say Philly at home? They beat Los Angeles, the Rams at home. I like the Lions here, man. I really do. I have so much confidence in this offense. After a bad week against Minnesota, they got to completely refresh, go into Washington, beat up on a team where Jared Goff threw for 320 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs had 150-plus total all-purpose yards as well. That's just what the Lions do. They are an explosive offense, and when they're at their best, I don't think I can name a better offense in the National Football League. Yeah, the Rams, the Bucks, when the Lions are on, Goff's not, when the Lions are on, Goff is not throwing any incomplete passes. You've got Gibbs and Montgomery who are running wild. And you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a top 10 receiver in football. Jameson Williams, the speed can burn anybody. And obviously when Laporta is healthy as well, which he's not this week, but Laporta is one of the best tight ends in football as well. They're so difficult to deal with. And their defense, is it a little suspect at times? It is, but I think they're going to find ways to get enough stops this week. And I think ultimately, to me, this game comes down to Philly not being able to keep up with Detroit. Detroit, I think they're gonna win the toss, and they're gonna take the ball, and they're gonna score on that first drive, like what they should have done in Kansas City to set the tone, and really, start that game off right against the Chiefs, where they got robbed of that first touchdown. They're gonna take the ball against Philly on Sunday night. They're gonna score right away, and they're gonna put it to the Eagles. They're going to catch the Eagles here, this dysfunctional Eagles team that won a boring 10-7 game on Monday night where, the halftime score was 0-0, but Philly found a way to win. Short week for Philadelphia, Sunday night, lights are bright against the Lions, who are hungry, who can, kind of taste the number 1 seed right now because Detroit's right there. If Detroit beats Philly, I think, are they number 1 if Detroit beats Philly? I believe they got to be, right? Yeah, the Lions are the number 1 seed if they win this week. It's a big game for them. They'll probably still win the North if they don't, but this might be the difference between the Lions being the number 1 seed in the NFC and the number 3 seed. This is a huge game. These have potential bye implications as well. I'm taking the Detroit Lions to go into Philadelphia and win the game. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown all have big days, and we're going plus 125 for the Detroit Lions on the road at Lincoln Financial Field. They will beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Give me Detroit. Folks, that does it for our 5 best bets for NFL week number 11 action. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you did disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back next week for more predictions and best bets. But don't forget, later today at 5 p.m. Pacific, our best player props as well for week 11 of the NFL season. So make sure not to miss that. Folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. And Mamba forever.